What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is the Fantasy Football Fanatics podcast. I'm your host, Griffin Palmer. This is Friday, November 10th, right? Yeah, it's the 10th. And the official podcast of the fantasyfootballfanatics.com. A show that is seemingly endlessly plagued by technical difficulties. Still no intro music, still no video. However, for the first time in 2.5 weeks, maybe, I am joined officially by both CJ the Hitman Hickman and Jason Cabrera. What's up, guys?
Oh man, what year is it?
It is 2017. Towards the end of it,
though.
It's
still okay. I thought we moved on. I thought we moved on to 2018.
No, not yet.
Very confused.
We're getting closer.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
When you get older, guys, things just kind of run together. Yeah.
All right. Well, so that's something. So that's Jason, of course. What's up, CJ?
Hello.
Oh,
Is it me?
Good God, he's in football euphoria right now, guys.
Man, what's up? It feels like a year since I've been on the show.
Right?
A solid year, or 2 weeks, whichever
One
comes
full
first.
year.
Well, when you miss your fans, it feels like an eternity. Weeks turn into months, months turn into years. That's how it is.
The whole babyface thing doesn't work for you, man.
It really doesn't.
I'm a natural heel. You guys suck.
There he is.
There it is.
There's the CJ we all know.
There you go.
All right. Anyway, we have an amazing show for you guys today.
It just doesn't work.
Yep. Today we are going to be talking about, of course, all of our starts and sits for week number 10. And, of course, we'll be bringing you all of the top headlines from around the league, as we always do. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the show wherever you're listening. We are a year-round podcast every Tuesday and Friday, bringing you the information that hopefully will help lead you to a fantasy title. You can submit questions various ways on Facebook, on Twitter, at the FF Fanatics. You can email your questions, thefantasyfootballfanatics.com. We do our best to get to all of them. Some just usually is not the case. We get more questions than we have free time in the day. We do our best, guys. We really do. If you want to support the show and get guaranteed question answering, you can head over to patreon.com/thefantasyfootballfanatics. Get yourself a lot of bonus perks, including the bonus episodes every single week. With that, let's move right into our top headlines from around the league, and let's start with a league-wide headline where ESPN's Dan Graziano, I don't know, I'm bad with names. He is reporting. He is reporting that New York Giants do not plan on making any decisions regarding head coach Ben McAdoo or general manager Jerry Reese until the season is over.
Jerry Reese has got to go. He's got to go. He is awful.
You just got to throw that whole team away and start over.
Just throw it away.
I don't know about that. I mean, this was a good defense last year. They have a lot of offensive pieces. They definitely have shortcomings. They need a running game. That would help them out a lot. And
that would help.
They need to find out what they have after Eli Manning. He is obviously getting to the end of his rope. But, I mean, they've got wide receivers. Webb. They've got defensive stars. They need an offensive line.
They don't have an offensive line. Yeah, I mean, you got to have an offensive line, and that should be job one for any general manager. And by the way, Tom Coughlin was thrown under the bus, thrown under the bus by the general manager. That should not have happened.
Yeah.
Period.
I think Jason hit it right on the nose. I mean, this is a team that people were coming into this year talking about the NFC East and how competitive it is. And this was the team that they said will be the clear-cut favorite to win it.
Super Bowl aspirations around this team.
Super Bowl aspirations, all of that malarkey and foolishness. When you talk about everything that you said, the receivers are good. The defense is impressive.
Yep.
But the two things that's been Achilles' heel to this team is a running game and offensive line, and they just refuse to address those things. And this is what you get.
Well, they are 1-7, when many, I think, were expecting them to be around the 6-2 mark around this time of the season. So, what are you going to do?
Couldn't have it to a better team.
Wow. Ben McAdoo, I still think is a good offensive coordinator. I just don't know if it's translating well to being a good head coach. So.
Well, Griffin, we're not sponsored by them. We don't have any favorites.
CJ, enough with your NFC East biased.
I'm just saying, I know you're a nice guy. You don't have to do it. I mean, just saying.
I don't have to, but I choose to. Injuries haven't helped either, so we'll see how it all shakes out. So you guys think that Jerry Reese is gone? What about Ben McAdoo?
I think they give him another year. I mean, you got to give it another year.
3 years already? Come on.
This is the thing about Ben McAdoo that I like. Okay. He actually said, you know what, I'm not going to call plays anymore. I'm going to hand that off to somebody else. And it worked out. They played better when he did that.
He really didn't say it, though. It was like low-key. He just didn't.
But it happened.
Gave it to somebody else. He didn't announce that. He just gave it to somebody.
Well, yeah, of course not. He's not going to make a big deal out of it. What I'm saying, I'm not saying he's the next Bill Belichick. What I'm saying is, any coach that is humble enough to say, you know what, this isn't working out, me calling the plays, I'm going to hand it to somebody else, let them do it, and they do a better job, and he keeps moving forward. I like that. So it shows a coach that can change. So I'd say give him another year, and if you have the same kind of thing as this, then you start looking for a new coach.
Fair enough. We'll see how it all shakes out. Let's move to the running back position. We'll start off in Dallas. I'm so tired of reporting on this, and this could be the end of it for a while. Running back Ezekiel Elliott had his emergency motion denied by the Second Circuit Court. He is officially suspended yet again. Now, doing a little bit more digging, I've been able to uncover that the next date that he should be able to appeal the suspension will be December 1st. So that's a good 3 weeks away. That puts him out for the next 4 weeks of game time. So, of course, it's a 6-week suspension, so weeks 10 through 15. So he would currently be slated to return in week 16, which is December 24th versus the Seattle Seahawks. Also not a favorable matchup. So at this point, Ezekiel Elliott, our biggest fears have been confirmed that he would be, instead of missing during the beginning of your season, he's going to be missing during your playoff run. This sucks for fantasy, but, at the very least, he's out the next 4 weeks, and we'll see what happens after that. I mean, I honestly don't even feel like asking your guys' input at this point because I'm so tired of talking about it, but what do you guys think? Ezekiel Elliott, he's not droppable because, if he comes back, he probably starts for you, and there's a chance you get him back sooner if this appeal ends up happening. But, this is just, worst possible scenario of timing for one of your star players to be down and out. What are you guys doing at this point? Are you trying to move him for some sort of value? I think that's what I do if your team is on the bubble and you need wins now. Otherwise, if you're in the championships, you hold on. You have to hold on to him.
Well, I don't know if you can trade him. Me personally, I think if you're a fantasy owner, you have him. I think you've been stealing. You've been stealing because you assuming that this suspension was happen earlier, but it kept getting pushed back. You were able to use him. You got wins. You got some dominating performances out of him. And if you were smart, you were preparing for this low key on the low and started picking up people that you can be able to put in there. You already had somebody for the bye week, so you got depth. So I don't think that even if you need to win now, I don't think a person is that hurting at the position because I think they're already prepared for it. So they would just, ride this out. You got 4 games for sure that he's going to be suspended, and then the other to be determined.
Well, I guess we will see. I agree. You should have been hedging for this, knowing that this was bound to happen sooner or later, picking up backups and other nice waiver wire options. But what I'm saying is, if you're a team that's currently 5-4 and you're right in that bubble, you have to separate yourself from the other opponents. It's team specific, but if you're able to get good return for him, you could make the argument that you got to win now, so you got to make some moves. It depends. I'm just saying I wouldn't put it out, because if he was not suspended, you're probably not moving him for anything. But right now, It's one of those things that you have to consider. Be open to it is all I'm saying. Anything you want to add, Jason, before we move on?
No, I think CJ hit it right on the head. It's going to be situationally dependent, though, moving forward. And like you said, if you don't need them, and you need to win right this minute, you probably need to free up a roster spot and go get somebody who can win for you now.
Yep. Well, case by case. Let's move on to Arizona, where running back David Johnson is having his cast removed on Monday. This is initial reports, of course, coming back from his wrist surgery, injury he suffered in week 1. I think it's all for nothing. I don't think that they're going to activate David Johnson this season. This season is basically lost at this point. I don't know. Jason, of course, you're our resident Cardinals fan. We just watched the, the score is misleading for how that game really went, but we just watched Thursday Night Football, of course. What are your thoughts here?
I'll tell you exactly what my thoughts are. A good team beats Seattle tonight because Seattle, 10 freaking penalties, and I don't even think that's all of the penalties. I pretty much stopped counting after 10. Penalties. They were helping the Cardinals all the way up and down the field, giving up tons and tons of yardage. And this is not the first time this has happened to Seattle. Seattle's been giving up double-digit penalties every single game consistently. And you can't do that and win unless you're playing a bad team. And unfortunately, the Arizona Cardinals have become a bad team. And the reason they've become a bad team is because we lost our quarterback. And I know CJ gives me a bunch of crap about Carson Palmer, but you saw the difference tonight between a Carson Palmer and a Drew Stanton. Drew Stanton
Absolutely.
is a serviceable backup quarterback. He is not a starter. He does not have that killer instinct that he needs to be a starter, because when he throws the ball down the field, it goes soaring up into the air, and it's awful. Okay. Not only that, the defense is absolutely porous. They're giving up tons of horrible, horrible plays, like that play where Russell Wilson's running around for about 40 yards before he heaves the ball up into the air, somehow finds its way to Doug Baldwin. That should never have happened. That was completely undisciplined football, and I'm sitting there watching my team play this way going, what is going on out there? So, yeah, I agree with you. Two things go into this. Their season's gone. They're not going to go to the playoffs this year. They already know that. The Rams are playing extremely well. Seattle's starting to pick up their groove again. And they just can't find a way to win. They can't find a way to get that defense together. And we have Drew Stanton heaving the ball down the field. And secondly, you got Adrian Peterson. I mean, he's playing well. He's playing very well. He didn't get a lot done tonight because of Seattle's defense, but he is an extremely good running back. We've seen what he can do. 37 carries last week, and he shows he's extremely good. So you're not in a rush to bring back David Johnson. You let him heal, bring him back next year.
I agree with that.
I think Jason hit it right on the head. You don't when you get to this far, right? Look, I know fantasy people, they're crying for him because you probably spent an arm and a leg. You put that draft capital in there. You want to see him. But now, look, this is when reality starts to take over fantasy. I'm sorry, people. But this is the reality of the situation. They're not going anywhere. If this team was competitive and they had an actual shot, legit chance, then yeah, absolutely. I can see it happen in a couple weeks that they start him and then, they'll go forward. But that's not the case. And this is the guy that they have a lot of stock in, because, I mean, this is the offense. Check the numbers. You saw what the production this kid put up last year. It's only going to get even more because the Cardinals going to have to try to go get them a quarterback now. I mean, I think Carson is gone after this year. I'm just saying, that's just my honest opinion. Just looking at the situation.
Well, I mean,
so they're not going to risk that. They're not risking that. So David Johnson, I'm sorry, he's not starting this year.
I mean, I think he was retiring after this year, regardless. But yeah, I get your meaning. So yeah, David Johnson, I don't expect that even if he gets cleared to come back, that they bring him back. No point in risking the future of this team on a lost season. They're 3.5 games out of the division lead right now, because both Seattle and Los Angeles are tied at 6-3 right now. So we'll see. Though the Rams, of course, haven't played yet this week. So let's move on to Atlanta, where running back Devontae Freeman returned to practice in full on Thursday, dealing with a knee injury. That's good news there if you're a Devontae Freeman owner. He's had a down couple of weeks. In Denver, running back C.J. Anderson missed practice on Thursday, of course, dealing with an illness. We've heard reports about this throughout the week. We'll see how he feels going forward, but probably not starting for you because of that three-headed attack. It's just not safe volume, though if you need him, he's the one to start in Denver. And that offense sucks. Also, in New York with the Jets, running back Matt Forte did not practice on Thursday. He is dealing with a knee injury. His status, I think, is pretty much up in the air. He's got a great matchup, but we're hearing mixed things right now, so we will update you as we know more. Follow us on Twitter at the FF Fanatics for updates. Let's go to the wide receiver position, to Atlanta, where wide receiver Julio Jones remains sidelined at practice on Thursday, dealing with a leg injury. By all reports, he is expected to play on Sunday. Have you guys heard any different?
No, I haven't heard anything different.
Jason, you've heard anything? No? Good matchup.
I'm just absolutely shocked that Julio Jones is hurt. I'm shocked by it. It's just shocking.
It's hard to really wrap your brain around. I understand that. Wow. Let's go to New Orleans, where Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas was limited in practice on Thursday, dealing with an ankle injury. He is expected to play. This guy, a little bit more confusing. Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Dez Bryant was limited in practice on Thursday, dealing with an ankle, and also we found out later on, also a knee injury on the same leg. His status is really up in the air. That's why I don't have him as my start of the week, and checking for you guys, neither do you, but I actually really like Cole Beasley this week. If Dez doesn't play, he's going to get a massive amount of targets against a decent matchup.
Williams is good too. That's a good play.
Oh yeah, all good. So we'll see. Dez Bryant's status really will determine a lot of things. Indianapolis Colts wide receiver T.Y. Hilton was limited at practice on Thursday, dealing with a groin injury. That's no fun, but he's got a tough matchup this week anyway. I understand start your studs, but maybe not.
Look elsewhere.
Yeah, maybe look elsewhere for this. Where for this one.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Well, I mean, he's playing. It's at home. I'll give him that. But he's playing, the Steelers, and the Steelers are giving up the second second least points to fantasy wide receivers, I believe it is. So it's just not a good matchup with Jacoby Brissett under center. Let's wrap up in Denver, where wide receiver Demaryius Thomas returned to practice on Thursday, dealing with a hamstring injury. He is expected to play.
I don't know why. Don't know why.
I mean, it should be a good game
you've been
against
watching,
the Patriots.
If you've been watching the tape, I'm sorry. Have you been watching the tape? Demaryius Thomas don't got no heart. He's just ghost riding the rest of the season, man. And I'm not mad at him. I mean, the quarterback play is atrocious, so I can't shoot the dude. But I mean, he does not look like the Demaryius Thomas of old. He does not look like
he needs to be traded.
Well, it's Sunday Night Football against the Patriots, who are giving up the third most points to fantasy wide receivers. So, I mean, it's all there. But, yeah, this offense sucks. I mean, you've got Brock Osweiler under center. It's not good. And a lot of it, yeah, his lack of production as of late has been directly linked to the quarterback play. So that's why he was not higher on our projections coming into the season. So, yeah, we'll see. But, I mean, it's a good matchup. And they're going to probably be trailing, so should be a good amount of passing volume. So maybe he puts together a good week. Let's go to the tight end position, where the Green Bay Packers have released tight end Martellus Bennett. This happened yesterday on Thursday. A lot of reports here, some stemming that he was very toxic in the locker room, that he was calling out other players and coaches alike, that he's just really not been a good return on value. I'm sure you guys have been hearing a lot of the same, correct?
Yeah, I heard the same stuff when he was with Chicago. So
yeah. But
same news.
If you are Martellus Bennett owner in fantasy, you just got really happy about this because he's already been claimed off waivers by the New England Patriots, who of course he played all of 2016 with and had a darn good season. Of course, a lot of that had to do with Rob Gronkowski going down, but it's always a possibility. Gronk's always banged up, so not a starter, but a lot of upside in New England. So Martellus Bennett changing teams.
Dwayne Allen's stock goes down, right?
Yeah, no, Dwayne Allen. Did he have stock to begin with? I didn't think so.
Well, I mean, they traded for him, so I'm just.
Yeah, that was shocking to me. And then the fact that they've used him so barely at all. I mean, that's even more surprising to me, honestly. Let's go to Washington, where Redskins tight end Jordan Reed practiced again on Thursday. He's coming back from currently a hamstring injury, but technically you could probably say about 6 different things. So,
if Jordan Reed was a horse, you'd take him out and shoot him. It's just every time you turn around, something is broken and destroyed.
He just did.
I just did. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of this guy. Every time we mention him, he's on. I think he's been on the injury report every week. I can't remember a week he wasn't on the injury report this year. And we talked about this in the off season. It's just like, oh my gosh, he stepped off the bus and twisted his ankle. I'm tired of hearing about Jordan Reed. I'm so tired of it.
Well, I mean, that's Jordan Reed in a nutshell. He's always banged up. I mean, he's got the 18th best matchup against the Vikings this week, so it's not exactly a great matchup. Leans on the side of being a bad one. He is banged up. Odds are he's going to be playing hurt, and he'll probably be limited because of that, both physically and in touches and volume and snaps. So I'm not starting Jordan Reed. I know a lot of analysts out there say if Jordan Reed starts, he starts for you. I disagree, especially this year, because they've been really limiting his touches and giving him a split with Vernon Davis. So I'm not doing it. Not doing it until I see that he's a full participant. Let's go to Buffalo, where head coach Sean McDermott confirmed on Thursday that tight end Charles Clay, quote, looked good, end quote, to play Week 10. He's been, of course, he's been dealing with a knee injury the last couple weeks. If you've been stashing him like I have in our big league of record, where it's a 2 tight end league, it's good news, but he does have a pretty rough matchup this week, and you also have to take into account, this is something I'm not hearing a lot of people talking about. He's been incredibly high volume in Buffalo, but remember, they traded for Kelvin Benjamin, so he's in town now, so I'm not sure how that affects the volume and the splits going on. So I'm not starting Charles Clay this week. I'm giving it a week. Yeah. It's a bad matchup. Kelvin Benjamin's there. Yep. We don't know how the split in the committee is going to work out with volume. So, I'm giving it a week. You guys feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And a little bit of other news. Indianapolis Colts released cornerback Vontae Davis. He officially had to get groin surgery. They've released him. It was a contract year anyway, so he's going to probably demand a lot of money on the open market. So a higher tier cornerback hits the open market midseason. That's kind of surprising. I expect him to be picked up and signed so a team can try and work out a long-term deal with him personally. What do you guys think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is typical Colts maneuvering here, though. Very funny to me.
Thank you. See, I mean, yeah, I can't. I can't
leave
dispute
that where it lies.
Yeah, we'll just keep moving, and we'll go to Seattle, where if you watch Thursday Night Football, you heard the commentators talking about this, and this has since been reported that defensive back Richard Sherman suffered a ruptured Achilles tendon. His season is reportedly done. No surprise there. He was clearly. It looked bad when he went down.
Yeah. He was done.
Yeah. So let's move on to our topic of the day, which is our week number 10 starts and sits of the week. Remember, our starts are generally not big names. We try to keep it sleepers. I went sleepers all the way around for this go-around, so hopefully this is helpful to you guys. Sits tend to be more of the big names. And remember, bye weeks are still going on. This week we have the Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Oakland Raiders, and the Philadelphia Eagles on bye. So as always, let's start with the quarterback position, where I am starting. Let's make this happen, Eli. I'm starting Eli Manning. Giants are on the road in San Francisco, but the matchup is just so good. How can you pass up a matchup against the 49ers, who have just lost all their defensive pieces? The offense is falling apart, so I think that the defense is falling apart, rather. So I think that the offense is going to have an easy time moving the ball. Well, actually, both sides of the ball are falling apart in San Francisco. What am I saying? So I just really like the upside here. I think the Giants are going to be able to move the ball. I think their defense, though their defense is struggling badly, is going to be able to get stops and put them in better field position. I just really like Eli Manning's chances. I mean, this team gives up a lot of points to fantasy quarterbacks. They give up a lot of points to fantasy wide receivers. It's just a good situation. If there was a time to start Eli, I think it's this week. So this is a sleeper pick, two quarterback league type thing, but I like him as a sleeper streamer option. CJ, your guy.
Man, that's so risky, that Eli thing. I don't know. All right, well, I'm going to go real deep. I'm gonna talk about deep down in the toy chest, saying that right next to the old Buzz Lightyear and the Woody. I'm pulling out Josh McCown this week.
I love this pick, for the record.
Josh McCown. Listen, this is a name that you probably a couple weeks ago I would have never said, but I'm looking at this dude's games. Josh McCown and these Jets are balling. They're putting up points, and these points are money for you for fantasy football. Josh McCown, look, he played Buffalo Bills. But now they're balled like that. He has been balling against teams like Atlanta Falcons. He even had a good game against the Jaguars. That's tough defense. And now he has a gift just straight for you. And if you're in a bye week slump right now and you're scrambling for help like me this week, he's giving you the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who has just been letting everybody just run roughshod on this defense. I'm expecting 30 points from Josh McCown this week.
Possible.
Wow.
I mean,
it's possible.
The Buccaneers are giving up the 7th most points to fantasy quarterbacks right now.
Giving up the cookies, man. They're Chris Kringle out here.
Of course, this is also in a 6-point per passing touchdown league that you're referring to. That's our standard here. CJ and I, peeling back the curtain a little bit, we both put in sizable bids for Josh McCown this week for our streaming quarterback options, bye-week plugins, whatever the case may be. And CJ outbid me, so kudos to you, CJ. It makes me sad. He outbid me by $2, so it makes me very sad. But now I'm looking elsewhere. Jason, your guy.
My guy is Jared Goff. So I picked up Jared Goff on the waiver wire, and I'm glad I did, because he, in this offense, this new offense for the Rams has been a revelation for them. They have been playing lights out, and this kid is looking better and better every week. 36.4 points against the Giants this last week, and then 2 weeks ago against Arizona, 20.70 points. 311 yards last week and 4 touchdowns. This kid is for real. I think he's for real. And guess what? He's playing a depleted Houston team that has not been playing the Houston-style defense recently. So I think he's going to have himself a field day. I think that Houston offense with no Deshaun Watson is going to have problems staying on the field. So I think that he's going to get lots of opportunities to go down and score points. Jared Goff, if you've got him, start him.
Going up against the Texans, who are giving up the fourth most points. I like it a lot. Let's move on to the running back position, where I am starting. Hold on to your horses here. Orleans Darkwa. I'm starting Giants players against the 49ers. Guys, the 49ers are not a good defense. I mean, this is a team that put up an historically bad performance against running backs last season, and here they are leading the league again. They're giving up 30.5 points to fantasy running backs on average right now. It doesn't get much better than that. Again, this is a guy who is probably honestly available in most of your leagues, a good streaming option, and I am starting him with running back 2 confidence, with running back 1 upside. I am starting Orleans Darkwa this week. In all my leagues, I can get my hands on him. Go get him.
Hey, man, my guy I'm starting is Jared McKinnon, man. He's going against the Washington Redskins. He's going to travel up to Washington. Listen, you're probably looking at the Washington Redskins. You're like, well, CJ, I don't know about that option. Let me tell you this, right? Let me look at name a couple teams that the Redskins have played against as far as running games. Out of these first 9 games, you know what I'm saying, they've only played shut down on these offenses maybe 2. Freaking Marshawn Lynch with the Redskins and Thomas Rawls and the rest of that trio of running backs back there with Seattle Seahawks. The rest of them, every running back has got a touchdown. So I think that's a good track record when I'm looking at consistency, that you're going to get some points from Jared McKinnon this week. So I'm saying start him.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, the Redskins are really benefiting from that performance they put up against the Raiders. That's really throwing off their average. And actually, the game against your Eagles, they had a very good performance. And Seattle, I mean.
They got to be the first one, because the second one, that was not the case.
No, it's the second one, Week 7 in Philly. You guys shut down the run, only allowed 64 yards, no touchdowns. That's really kind of throwing off their average here. If you go into their actual average, it's a much more favorable game than the averages are saying. That's why you got to look at it week by week, guys. You can't just look at points total, because it's misleading. Sorry, Jason, your guy.
You're misleading. Oh,
that's fair.
So that's probably fair. I was gonna say. Okay, first of all, I was going to say Todd Gurley because, I mean, come on, that's a juicy matchup he's got. However, he's number 1 right now in fantasy, so I'm going to back off of that. I'm going to go down to Leonard Fournette. Still a big name, still a great player. He was suspended by his team for misconduct. I think he's going to come into this game angry. He's playing against the Chargers. He's been having a really nice year. I think he's going to put up a lot of points this coming week, just based on that week off. Time to sit there and gnash his teeth together watching other people carry his football. I think he's going to have himself a nice game. So I would start Leonard Fournette if you've got him.
You think Todd Gurley's going to go off this week? Just going back on your previous statement?
Against San Francisco? Or against I'm sorry. Against Houston, rather?
Yeah.
Against Houston? Yeah, absolutely.
The Texans are giving up the least points to fantasy running backs right now by a decent margin.
I don't think it's going to matter. I think that defense is going to be on the field so much that he's going to just wear them down.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, I'll give you that. There you go.
Yeah. All right, let's move to the wide receiver position, where I'm going back to the well. I'm going to New York, but I'm going to the Jets this time. I am starting Robbie Anderson, who has been on fire the last 3 weeks. And I think it continues again this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are giving up the second most points to fantasy wide receivers, almost 40 points a week to the position. And Robbie Anderson is the only real wide receiver they have in New York. I think that he feasts this week, so I am starting him. I think he honestly has wide receiver 2 upside. So I'm starting him with confidence this week. And a guy who, again, is widely available because most people don't want anything to do with the Jets, but the Jets, they're sleeping on them. This is a team that we expected to try and go winless, but here they are winning games and being competitive. So, yeah, go get a piece of the offense, and especially the piece that seems to have a good rapport with the quarterback in Josh McCown. CJ, your guy.
My guy is Mr. Adam Thielen, and I always got a feeling for Adam Thielen, especially this week. Now, look, you're probably looking at the matchup and say, against Washington, they're pretty tough on wide receivers, especially with Josh Norman back there. That's why I say
6 least points.
Because guess what? Stephon Diggs is back. So that means Stephon Diggs is going to be most likely trailed and covered by Josh Norman. On the other side, Mr. Brilliant, the other corner, he likes to do what I like to say, giveaways. You know what I mean? He likes to let's make a deal. How about I look at my shoes and you run a 50 fly route on me and you can score 6 touchdowns? That's the guy that's going to be covering Adam Thielen. So
Ouch.
I say you should just go ahead and get you some Thielen and have a good feeling this Sunday.
I like it. It's a riskier choice, but I like it. Jason, your guy.
I like all the rhyming. It's very Don King.
I know, right?
All right.
It's very
so,
CJ.
It's very CJ. Yeah. Sterling Shepard.
Love it.
So I laid off of Sterling Shepard last week because he was coming back off an injury. I don't like to start people right out of the gate after an injury. However, this week I'd say go for it. He's got a wonderful matchup against San Francisco. Not a good defense, as we've covered ad nauseum. He's their number one guy. He's going to be the best receiver on that field. So I have a feeling he's going to have himself a nice week. Sterling Shepard, start him.
Let's do it. Let's go to the tight end position where I am starting Ed Dixon. Now, I know, Ed Dixon has been really, really hit or miss. But with Kelvin Benjamin being gone, we kind of missed on this point a little bit last week, but he's gone. And the Dolphins are giving up the fifth most points to fantasy tight ends. This is a position that you're streaming right now, and you really are streaming matchups, and I think that he gets it done this week. It's just too juicy to pass up. It's Monday Night Football. It's prime time. I think they're going to be dumb if they don't use him. I'm starting Ed Dixon with confidence. CJ, your guy.
My man, Kyle Rudolph. I'm double dipping. I'm double dipping in this game, man. No, you know what? Triple dipping in this game, man. You got to finish it off with the tight end, man. My man, Kyle Rudolph. The Redskins are known for giving up the cookies for the tight ends, man. Kyle Rudolph, my man. Look, Case Keenum. Look, I understand you want Teddy Bridgewater, but Case Keenum, he's not losing games for you, and he's getting the ball to where it needs to be, and he gets the ball to Kyle Rudolph, and that's fantasy points for you. I'm saying start him, man. Start him in a single tight end leagues, double tight end leagues. Put the man in your lineup this week.
I feel like that's a pretty obvious auto start, but I get your point. Jason, your guy is a guy that I liked, but I just could, even though this is one of my guys, I just,
God,
it's been
Jason,
such a
what
letdown.
is this?
Okay.
This is a typo, right?
Let me explain.
I want to
I had a
believe,
different name.
Jason. Make me believe.
I had a different name in there.
Where's
Okay,
the other name? Put him back in there.
It was our name too, CJ. I love that guy. No, I decided against it. I decided to go with Eric Ebron.
Oh,
now,
God,
listen,
no.
Now listen, he's done horrible this year. Okay, absolutely. He's had one good game. Okay, he's done horrible. However, if he's gonna have a game, this is gonna be the game.
It's gotta be.
They're playing Cleveland.
No, it can't
Okay.
be.
Second most points to fantasy tight ends at home. Yep.
They're playing at home. They're playing Cleveland. This is the best opportunity that he's going to have this year to have a good game. So that's why I say Eric Ebron this year, he's got to have a breakout game at some point, and I think this is going to be that breakout game because he is a talent. He has a lot of talent. He just has not been showing up.
It scares
Jason,
me.
So you know it's bad when you're on a prime time and you catch a ball and the crowd cheers. You catch a ball, what you're supposed to do at the position, and the crowd cheers. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
Well, the other problem is you have to remember exactly what position we're talking about. We're talking about the dumpster fire that is the tight end position.
Yeah.
So you don't have a lot of options here. And looking at Cleveland, they're awful against the tight end. Absolutely putrid.
Well,
so,
I'm hoping you're right.
Yeah, if he's got a chance, this is the week. So I'd say if you got Eric Ebron, go ahead and start him.
It just scares me because Golden Tate and Marvin Jones have been on fire as of late. So I stay the flames with them before I buy into Eric Ebron right now. But it could happen. Like you said, a fantastic matchup at home. So, I mean, if it's going to happen, this is the week for it to happen. So, I mean, it's possible. It's a risky play, but, I mean, it's definitely possible. With that, let's move on to our sits of the week, and I am sitting Phillip Rivers, and the reason is I feel pretty obvious. Phillip Rivers is going from West Coast to East Coast. It's a long-distance traveling team. You know, West Coast teams, as we always talk about, don't do well when they make that trip to the East Coast, early start time, and they are playing in the black hole, the void that is Jacksonville against the Jaguars, who are giving up, and this is on average in a 4-point per passing touchdown league, they're giving up an average of 6.7 points to fantasy quarterbacks. Single-digit production. This team has a disgusting pass defense. So look, the Jaguars haven't really played a lot of offenses like the Chargers. I almost said San Diego. Like the Chargers. A lot of weapons, a lot of guys to cover. They spread it out, but it's just so bad. I am not starting Phillip Rivers this week. Everything on the road, West Coast to East Coast, tough pass defense. It's a really, 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 really bad idea. So I am sitting Phillip Rivers this week. CJ, your guy.
Well, just one more thing. I think that people have seen what Jacksonville can do when they played the Steelers. What was that, like week 5 or something like that? They shut that down.
It was week 5.
Down. Yeah, they shut that down.
In Pittsburgh, no less.
Crazy, right? Oh, my God.
Yep.
All right, so my guy, I'm sitting down Mr. Kirk Cousins. Mr. New Dad, Kirk Cousins. Guess what? You got the Vikings coming to your house, and you know what? That Vikings defense ain't no joke. I'm going to tell you right now.
Nope.
Your offense is very inconsistent. And you're going against a very consistently shutting down defense. So, listen, if you got them out there, you're hurting. You heard the teams they're on by. I'm saying there's other options. So, please, heed this warning. Do not start Kirk Cousins this week.
Giving up the 4th least points to fantasy quarterbacks, the Vikings defense. So, yeah, I agree. Jason, your guy.
Nope. All right, so interesting little side note here. I was looking really hard at Drew Brees, and the reason I was is because he's going to Buffalo. Yeah, tough defense, away from the dome. However, I looked at his stats. He's bucking the trend this year. His good games have actually come away from the dome.
Correct.
He's played well. He's played well away this year. It's very, very strange. He played well in Green Bay, played well in Miami, he played well in Carolina. So, I mean, he's bucking that trend. It's nice to see. So not obviously going to go that direction. Instead, I'm going to say a guy that's actually had a couple of good weeks behind him, but I think that's going to end this week, and that's Jacoby Brissett. Now, I like Jacoby Brissett. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback down the line for somebody. However, he's playing Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh really just loves to kill quarterbacks.
Yes.
They're giving up the 3rd least points, and it's not just because of one good game. This is week to week to week. 6.7 points in week 2, 6.4 in week 3, 9.4, 2.7 against Jacksonville. Yeah, it's Blake Bortles, but still. So, I mean, this is a team that loves to kill the quarterback. Jacoby Brissett is going to have a bad day.
I could not agree more. With that, let's move on to the running back position, where I am sitting Rob Kelly. Vikings defense is not just good at any one aspect. They are a very good, well-rounded defense, and the Vikings are giving up the 2nd least points to fantasy running backs. Yes, this game's in Washington. I don't care. The Washington Redskins have not been great at moving the ball on the ground, and the Vikings are incredibly good at stopping the run, and they've played a number of good runners. I can't talk. So it's just not something I want any parts of. So don't start Rob Kelly or any of the Washington running backs this week. CJ, your guy.
Couldn't agree more. I'm going to go Mr. Kenyon Drake. Now, listen, J.J. is out of there. So you're looking at process elimination. He is more athletic. He does have the opportunity to be a good back. But they're going against the Panthers this week. And one thing that I don't like about running backs facing the Panthers is a certain guy named Luke Kuechly. When he's healthy, he is troublesome for you. And he will not allow your running back to get any fantasy points. Speaking as a person that owned Doug Martin last week and saw him have negative points going against this Panthers defense. So from a guy that's been through it and traumatized and damaged a lot of technology, please do not start Kenyon Drake this week. And you know what? Just stay away from Miami altogether this week.
Yeah. Panthers are giving up the 3rd least points to fantasy running backs, and I think that they're going to be playing from behind, so I think Damian Williams is going to have a better week than Kenyon Drake because he's more of the pass catcher. But I'm not starting either one this week, like you said. Jason, your guy.
Well, I wanted to say the entire New England backfield because they're playing against the Broncos, whose defense, because that offense is so bad, the defense has had to step up, and they have stepped up. They are a phenomenal defense. But Oh, come on, you got to give them that. They got a good defense.
Man, I rushed 3 rushing touchdowns on them last week. I don't have to give them anything. So they better be paying me. What are you talking about?
Well, bottom line is I can't do a position group, so I'm going to go with one person. I'm going to say over in that Miami-Carolina game we just talked about, Jonathan Stewart. Not having a great year and playing a Miami team that actually has been pretty decent against the run. So I'm going to say sit him down. He's not doing anything anyway. Don't start him. Christian McCaffrey might be a better option for you to start in that particular game. Going to get more options out of the backfield. So, yeah, sit him down.
Yeah, they haven't played a lot of elite rushers, but, yeah, I agree. I don't like the committees. And we saw Christian McCaffrey get a good number of rushing attempts last week, so we'll see.
It's true.
Let's go to the wide receiver position where I am sitting Keenan Allen. The reasoning, I feel, is redundant. I'm sitting Phillip Rivers. I'm sitting Keenan Allen. The Jacksonville Jaguars are giving up the least points to fantasy quarterbacks. They're also giving up the least points to fantasy wide receivers. I'm not doing it. I want no parts of it. They're going to shut him down. Yeah, don't do it. Sit Keenan Allen. And really, all the Chargers. I keep wanting to say San Diego. All the Chargers wide receivers this week. CJ, your guy.
Stop torching San Diego. All right, they know they don't have a team, and you continue to do it.
And
every
now
time we talk about this team. Yeah. Get your pitchforks.
Nope.
Burn the city to a ground.
Nope. CJ, your guy.
Right. Well, first of all, you said Jason gets to say shooting people, but I can't say burning people.
I'm
gonna the city to the ground.
No, I'm just gonna heavily edit this whole episode.
All right.
Your guy,
anyway,
CJ.
My guy. I hate to do this because this is a dude I love, and he was money for you for weeks because his quarterback was doing such good work, but then his quarterback was taken from us so tragically, and I'm talking about Mr. Will Fuller. Will Fuller, Tom Savage is not getting you the ball. I'm sorry, he's not going to throw the ball down the field to get it to you, man. And if you're not in leagues where you can get special team points, this was useless. So I hate to do this. But I'm saying you should sit Will Fuller this week, and downright, you might even have to drop him just because he's not getting opportunities.
The magic is now gone without Deshaun Watson there.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Jason, your guy.
Also playing the Rams, which is just scary all the way around. All right, so my guy is D.Y. Hilton, and it should be pretty obvious why. He's just not having himself a year right now. And just to give you a little bit of an example of why I'm saying this, he's had a couple of good games. He had a good game against Cleveland. He had a good game against San Francisco. And he had a good game against Houston. And what do we know about those three teams? Their defense sucks.
They are games you should have good games against.
Exactly.
And
then games against the Rams, Arizona, Seattle, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Cincinnati. He didn't even get double digits. He got like 3 points, 4 points, 3 points, 1 point, 2 points. He's playing Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's getting up the second least amount of points to the wide receiver position. I don't think he's going to have himself a very good day. And I already mentioned Jacoby Brissett's not going to have a good day. I don't think that whole offense is going to have a good day. So I would not start Mr. T.Y. Hilton if I were you.
I agree. With that, let's move on to the tight end position where I am sitting Jason Witten. I know it sounds like a juicy matchup, a shootout, the Cowboys and the Falcons, but if there's one thing the Falcons are pretty darn good at, it is shutting down the tight end. They're giving up the 4th least points to fantasy tight ends. I will concede that Jason Witten might get forced volume, and he might end up giving you a decent day, especially in half-point per reception leagues or full-point PPR. But, I mean, the Falcons, they're shutting down. And, of course, this is if Des Bryant doesn't play is what I'm saying. But I don't know. I just don't like Jason Witten this week. There are plenty of other options that I would rather choose over him. I am sitting him this week. CJ, your guy.
My guy is Vernon Davis. I'm sticking with this Washington Redskins and Minnesota game. Look, the Minnesota Vikings are very good against the tight ends. And Vernon Davis, yes, he is getting the opportunities. But I think, and I'm believing when I'm looking at tape study, but this Vikings defense, they start to take away those guys that they really like and getting effective, and Vernon Davis' opportunities might be dwindling and not be able to get points for you. So I'm sorry. I think you should set him this week.
Also, Jordan Reed might play, so it's.
I mean, he was still getting points without him
for like a snap until he breaks his leg or something.
Also true. Jason, take us home.
All right, my sit of the week is Julius Thomas. He's playing Jacksonville. I mean, that should be pretty much enough said at this point. Jacksonville's defense is just stingy. They just love to kill people. And second least amount of points to the tight end. Sit him down.
Get him out of there.
Yeah. So that'll do it for us today. All right, please make sure you guys tune in on Tuesday when we will be doing all of our studs and duds recap from week number 10, and of course bringing you all of our top waiver wire pickups for week number 11. Should be a lot of fun. As always, please make sure you guys subscribe to the show wherever you're listening and support the show. It really helps us out a ton. Patreon.com/thefantasyfootballfanatics. Really help the show. And if you want to help the show in other ways, head over to iTunes or Stitcher. But iTunes is really by far the most helpful. Give us a rating. Give us a review. Helps the show out more than we could ever say. Helps us keep doing what we're doing. Allow us to keep doing this free product for you guys and try and bring home some fantasy titles. That's what it's all about, guys. And remember, also subscribe on Facebook, facebook.com/thefantasyfootballfanatics, or on Twitter. Easiest way to interact with the show, get breaking news and updates, and, of course, the injury updates going into Sunday's games at the FF Fanatics, or individually, I'm at GPalmerFFF. CJ is at CJHickman89, which is also where you can find his live Periscope every Sunday morning, last-second hot takes before the games, and Jason is at Jason Cabrera13. So with that, we are out of here. Any parting thoughts, guys?
Hey, man.
Yeah, actually, I just gotta say real quick, I misspoke earlier. I said that Julius Thomas was playing Jacksonville. He's not. He's playing Carolina. Still sit him down. Carolina is very good against the tight end as well.
Okay, I thought I just misheard you, but okay,
Good
yeah.
save.
All right.
I said it wrong. My
Okay,
bad.
got it.
Excellent save. Hey, man, I got to represent for us on this show, man. For Nutso Puppies, you're going down, man. My other guys, bad year for the Listener League, but I'm still in the fight.
It's sad that we're putting all of our eggs in that basket. All right,
Yep.
so I knew that the season was lost after that draft. It all went wrong at the draft.
Yeah.
I have to start taking the Listener League seriously. All right, so we're out of here. Everyone, no shot to the listeners though. They're all doing a phenomenal job. It's all on
Oh
me.
my God, they're great.
Yeah,
They're great.
It's a
Oh,
great
they're so
competitive
good.
league. I'm enjoying
Oh,
watching
my
it
gosh.
unfold, knowing that I'm on the outside looking in from the draft. So, all right, we're out of here. Everyone, take care. Have a great weekend. There, of course, is no outro music. God, we got to get this fixed. All right, take care, guys. We'll see you on Tuesday. Bye.